Peter Barron, and today I am at Ridley College, which is in St. Catharines, Ontario. Ridley's offers grades JK through 12, and their boarding program starts in grade 5. And that brings me to Rachael Scott, who is the Director of Residential Life, as well as a Housemaster in Leonard House. And the reason we're talking today is, residential life is a huge component of any boarding school, and I thought it'd be fun to get to know a little bit more about how Ridley approaches it. So, from your perspective as the head of the program, what kind of lessons are you imparting upon your kids on a regular basis who are in the boarding program?
So really our goal with the curriculum that we've developed for residential life is to provide the students with the skills they need to not only do really well while they're at Ridley, but to also do well in their life once they've moved beyond the Ridley gates. So we're talking about skills like transitioning to high school for the grade 9 students, and then when we get all the way through to grade 12, we're talking about skills like how to budget for university. What is university likely to cost them, and how are they going to manage their money? And in the meanwhile, we might talk about healthy relationships and learning how to foster healthy relationships with their grade 11s. And we talk about various skills that they're going to need to manage their life and to probably do well. That's our goal, is for them to be able to do well and be healthy.
Yeah, and one of the things that I find really interesting about that you're actually budgeting time to do this is that, at a boarding school, time is of a premium, right? It is a busy lifestyle as both the faculty and the students leave. So, whenever you hear that a school says it's important that we find time to teach these lessons and have these conversations, it's important. So how does that actually, function here? I mean, when do you find the time to have these conversations?
So we've been fortunate to be able to block out two different periods of time. We have time during the academic day that the advisors meet with their advisory groups. So each faculty member and many staff members are assigned a group of advisees, probably 8 to 10 advisees, all from one grade group. And they meet and discuss a variety of topics, such as perhaps studying for exams, different ways to organize their books and their online information, so folders on their computers, all those sorts of learning skills, managing their online profile, those sorts of things that they need to learn. And then we also have budgeted time in the evening, mostly on Monday evenings, for the students to meet in their house groups to discuss all the other sort of things that go along with growing up and learning to be an adult.
Yeah, so there are multiple times throughout a week where there's going to be contact.
Yeah.
The other thing that I find really interesting about your residential life is that you actually start in grade 5, right? So I imagine that, introduces some interesting challenges for you as the head of residential life. How do you approach the lower school boarding program versus the upper school boarding program?
So the lower school boarding program, sort of grades 5 through 8, operates as its own entity, really, within the lower school program, really to honor the fact that grades 5 through 8 have very different needs from grades 9 through 12. The girls and boys in grades 5 through 8 have a couple who housemasters them, and their dorm, their residence, is attached to the lower school. So those students spend all of their time mixed in with peers of their same age, and it really provides them with the opportunity to remain grade 5, 6, 7, and 8 sort of level students, and to really get to know their peers and to be part of that culture. And then once they've graduated from that program, they get to move to the upper school and feel like they've started anew when they come into grade 9. And it gives the grade 9s through 12s the chance to do something different.
And the other thing that is, I don't know if this is unique to Ridley or not, but even the day school students in the grade 9 program are factored into the residential life program.
Right, so all day students are afforded the opportunity. They all have a desk and a locker in a residential room. So in a boarding room, a typical residence room, there'd be 2 boarding students and a day student there. And it really allows the day student and boarding population to come together. There's a very little divide between the day student population and the boarding student population. You often see schools set up so that there's day student houses and boarding houses, but that doesn't exist here.
Right,
everybody is part of a house, and if you're part of that residence, you could be a day student or a boarding student, and you can be in grades 9 through 12, and there's no distinction. You're all part of that same family, and you stay with the same house for your time in the upper school, and that really allows for great cohesion in the residences.
What kind of feedback do you get from not only the day students, but their parents as well?
They love it. I mean, when they move their students in and they get to see that their daughter is in a residence room with a girl from Hong Kong and another girl from Barbados, and they get to really do some neat learning from each other, and it works really well. And the day students then learn from the boarding students, and then they also invite their boarding students home often, so that those boarding students get to experience some Canadian culture as well with their families, and that sort of, that give and take works really, really well.
So, as we wrap up here, one last question. What kind of lessons do you find that the residential program imparts upon the kids as they, graduate, head off to college, start their careers? What is it about the residential life program that leaves its mark?
Really, the goal is that our students have the skills that they need to cope with university life or post-secondary life, and to do so in a way that is healthy. So they have learned to budget their time, they've learned to budget their finances, they've learned to study well, they've learned who to ask for help when they need help, they've learned what it is, hopefully, that maybe that they're passionate about, or at least how to start to identify what their passions are, so that they can explore areas in their academic career that are exciting to them and that they really want to do. That's the goal of the residential program, is that they know the basic skills, they know how to learn more, and then that they can get excited about what it is that they're learning.
They know how to put the puzzle together, right?
That's right.
Yeah, because it's, boarding school is a busy life. And purposely so, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time, and, best of luck with the rest of the year.
Thank you.